So, if you're watching videos on YouTube to learn how to speak English, you have probably been told about this magic key that will make it that you can learn English, speak like a native speaker, and speak absolutely fluently if you just know these keys, these important things to improve your English. And those important things are idioms. No. Hi, my name is Dave and welcome to Just Say It English, and today we're going to give you 5 reasons as to why you shouldn't use idioms. And this is going against what you were probably taught, because you were probably taught that if you learn idioms, you can sound like a native speaker. But that's not true. Now, native speakers and fluent speakers know idioms, but knowing idioms doesn't make you a fluent speaker, and that's very important to understand. So today we're going to talk about 5 reasons as to why you should maybe not learn idioms now, maybe in the future, but to not focus so much on them. So let's go ahead and start with number 1. Number 1 is vocabulary. You just might not have a big enough vocabulary. So when we use idioms, we use a lot of different words that we don't use on a daily basis, and this might actually make it a little confusing when you're all of a sudden creating some sort of idiom out of words that you don't know. So you want to improve your vocabulary first before you start exploring idioms. And we're just talking about basic vocabulary, just regular vocabulary, learning just certain nouns, I mean verbs, how verbs are used, different ways you could use verbs. So just building your vocabulary will help you improve your idioms. Number 2. Number 2 is grammar. So grammar is important because when we use idioms, we many times use prepositions. And it's important to know how these prepositions are used. And if you want to form your own idioms at some time, you're going to need to know what prepositions to put into these idioms. So knowing prepositions, knowing how transitive and intransitive verbs work and other things, these are important in understanding idioms. So knowing vocabulary, knowing grammar, these 2 things, if you don't have that foundation already, then it's going to be really hard to understand idioms and they're not going to sound natural. So you don't want to do that. So number 3. Number 3 is that you just don't know the meaning of them. You learn a specific idiom, you are given a general meaning of what that idiom is, just a basic meaning, a basic understanding, and then you use it in conversation and it doesn't sound right because maybe that idiom has some sort of specific context, or maybe it's not recognizable to everyone, but you heard it, you put it in, you just took some words out and then you plugged the idiom in, and you don't want to do that.
Let us break wind.
Right? So this is very important. Do not just take out words and plug in idioms. So using them incorrectly can be a big problem. Number 4, knowing the context and cultural reasons for idioms. Now, there are idioms in British English that I have never heard of. There are American idioms that Brits have probably never heard of.
Yeah, I heard that, and I still don't understand what that means.
If you're a non-native speaker and you tell me a British idiom, I might not know what that is. So it's important to know both the culture it comes from and maybe it has a specific context. So some idioms you might only use in specific situations. And if you use that in the wrong situation, again, number 3, you just simply took something in and plugged it back in, then it won't work out right.
He between a rock and a hard one.
Oh shit. Whoa, I gotta see this.
You want to make sure that you know the context and you know the culture of this idiom. Number 5, and I think we might actually have some more. So sometimes when people learn idioms, and this also goes with phrasal verbs, this goes with perfect tense and other things, they tend to overuse them. That they learn a group of idioms and then they constantly plug idioms into their speech. And it sounds very unnatural because you're sounding like you're speaking more in idioms than you are speaking normally, right? So you want to make sure that when you're speaking, you're being understood. And when you put these idioms in there and you overuse it, it just sounds very, very unnatural. So you want to not just know the meaning, the vocabulary, and everything like this. You want to just use them a little bit less. Use them every now and then. Don't try to put it in. All right? So that's important. Yeah, so actually, number 6. There is a number 6. Now, number 6 is going to be a little hard for me to advocate, but I believe it is true. And that is to be a level C1 speaker. Now, to me, if you're a B2 learner, you know the language well. You understand it. You have a good grasp of the grammar. You have a good grasp of the vocabulary. And you have a lot of understanding of how everything works, and you can usually say a sentence without any problems. That's knowing the language. C1 is feeling the language, having some sort of emotional connection to it, that when you speak it, the words just come off the tongue. The words are just absolutely normal to you, and you think in that language. You start understanding in that language. You start understanding the idioms in that language. So when somebody does say an idiom, you understand why it is. So for someone who's a B2, idioms, you want to start learning what they are, but you might want to wait to use them until you get to that C1 level. Now, I know that is kind of discouraging, but idioms are something that's totally different, and you just don't want to, again, take it out and plug it in. You want it to sound natural. And one of the biggest problems is that people sound unnatural when they do it. So let me give you an example. If I was to say, John here, he wants to get a promotion. Okay, I could just say, yeah, well, whatever, his head is in the clouds, he ain't gonna get her, or whatever, right? It kind of just becomes part of the sentence. It's integrated into there. But a lot of people who are B2 learners will say, yes, I don't think he will get it. His head is in the clouds. I don't think he can get the promotion, right? They know the language, but it sounds like it was just put in there for the sake of putting an idiom in there. It doesn't come natural. And idioms are something that, as much as I hate to say it, is something that is very natural when you say it. So having a feeling, having an understanding of what idioms are, that's an important one. That's a big one. All right, so those are the actual 6 reasons why I think you should not learn idioms right away. If you're a B1 level learner, don't even think about idioms right now. They're not important to you. You have to build your grammar. You have to build your vocabulary. You have to build your understanding of the learning of English. That's what you need to build right now. If you're a B2 learner, start learning them. Start understanding what they mean. Listening to their context is very important, and knowing when to and when not to do it is important as well. See how often people use idioms. Do they use them a lot? Do they not use them a lot? When do they use them, right? So you want to make sure you do that. All right, so thank you very much. Thank you for joining me today. Please hit the like and subscribe button below. And if you're interested in taking lessons with me, go to justsayitenglish.com. Sign up there. I can help you out and build your idiom list if you're a B2 or C1 level learner. But if you're in the B1 level and you want to improve, well, everything with English, I would be more than happy to help you. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe, like, hit the little bell, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.